Let's start here with the Mac Jones era. That is going to be underway now with the New England Patriots as he's going to begin the Week 1 season opener with Cam Newton that was just released on Tuesday. We have a fellow KCOU member in Harrison Vapnek who does a phenomenal job on Start Your Sundays. He is a Patriots fan, and he had this to say about his expectations for Mac Jones, excuse me.
My expectations for Mac Jones for the 2021 NFL season for the New England Patriots is to kind of just prove why Belichick and Josh McDaniels and the organization made him the starter and made the decision to cut Cam Newton. I think he's pretty old compared to the other rookie quarterbacks. He was in college for 4 years in that Alabama organization, that Alabama program. They do a great job developing football players over there. So I think that he kind of already has that experience under his belt. He's already been coached so well by, Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban down there at Alabama. So he kind of already has that mindset and already has kind of that football knowledge and the IQ to kind of step in there Week 1. They have good talent around him with Henry and Jonnu Smith, the tight ends they add. They improved the receiver room. I don't want to say Jones is going to be a game manager, but I think in this first year they're not going to ask too much of him. I think a lot of it's going to be just to kind of keep New England in games and not really throw them out of it. And when they need to make plays, I think they can trust Jones just from the experience he has. He was the best quarterback in all of college football last year, for the most yards in a single season at Alabama in only 13 games instead of the usual 14 or 15 through a lot of touchdowns, was third in the Heisman voting. And I expect Jones to really have a solid year. 3,500 passing yards, 4,000 passing yards, that might be a lot. And, less than 12 interceptions, I'd hope, and maybe 25-ish touchdowns, and just a really solid rookie year. Hopefully one of the finalists for Offensive Rookie of the Year and take New England back to the postseason.
Okay, that's what Harrison Vapnek had to say for his expectations for Mac Jones. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but he sounded like he was out of breath.
He's very excited about the season.
I don't know if he came from the gym. I don't know. But it wasn't that hot yesterday. But anyway, Ben, I'll start with you here. What are your expectations for Mac Jones heading this season? Do you agree with Harrison in here?
Yes, I actually do. And there's something really important that he said. I don't think they'll ask him to be a game manager, but they won't ask a whole lot of him. I think he hit the nail right on the head with that one. Mm-hmm. If you look at, first of all, Cam Newton had very little last year. I think Mac Jones has a lot better of weapons to work with, especially for someone who you aren't, I don't think, going to ask a whole lot of. If you look at what he has to work with in terms of safety blankets, I mean, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith at tight ends, they're not going to be running deep routes down the field, crossers, ins and outs, stuff like that. And then out of the backfield, we saw how well Brady utilized James White. They'd run screen slants with James White. So if you're not going to ask too much of him, those are some really great weapons to work with. People or guys that'll keep him from turning the ball over, and they can move down the field with those weapons on offense. And then when they do want to take a shot downfield, Nelson Aguilar can outrun people. So it may not be the most big-name people in the entire NFL, but there's some really talented guys that are perfect for a rookie quarterback. I think Bill Belichick knows not to ask too much of him yet, even though they could, and I think he could succeed, but I don't think they're going to, especially with the defense they have, and I think Damian Harris has a good year. So I think he worded it perfectly. Not manage the game, but just not go deep shots every drive, and he can utilize those weapons at tight end and out of the backfield.
I do agree with what some Harrison has to say. And you alluded to what you actually specifically said it with Cam Newton last season. This is somebody that played with receivers I couldn't even name last year. People that couldn't get open. Cam Newton was running for his...
Bird was scoring 2 touchdowns.
Half of those people you don't even know. I mean, Sony Michel now is not even on the Patriots anymore. He's on the Los Angeles Rams. But that's beside the point. I expect Mac Jones and the Patriots to win 10 games this upcoming season.
I think that's completely fair. I think they could easily make it that far. Their defense is going to have to play a role, but I think they could definitely get double digits.
And I think they will, because I think their defense is that good. And that is if health does not become an issue, because obviously if you don't have enough players to play a game, you forfeit, and you obviously lose a game according to the new standards.
They need Gilmore to come on. I believe he's on the physically unable to perform list. Mm-hmm. He's obviously a big component.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So I have seen Mac Jones in camp. This is somebody that is not your typical quarterback these days. He is not your dual threat quarterback that we see and Justin Fields and Trey Lance. This is not somebody like that. This is somebody that plays the old style.
The mobility of a Manning brother.
Exactly. This is somebody that looks like could be a replicate of Tom Brady. Not what Tom Brady is, what he basically
just his
plays
play style.
like.
Yeah.
Yes. So, exactly. His ability to fling the football with accuracy and velocity. His ability to process information quickly. Yes, he's an immobile quarterback, but this is a team, the Patriots, that has a good O-line, a good defense. You have weapons now on the both ends of the field that were not there last season. You have an elite defense, like I said. He should be pretty decent in his rookie campaign. I understand that Mac Jones in Alabama, he played with Jalen Waddle. He played with Devonta Smith. He had a running game in Najee Harris. I don't think Mac Jones asked for that. I simply think he utilized his weapons at the best of his ability, and look what he did last season. 4,500 yards, completed 77% of his passes, 41 touchdowns compared to 4 interceptions. If we are looking at the New England Patriots philosophy, this is why they have been good for so long. They weren't even bad that last season. They were 2 plays away from 9 wins. They were basically, their philosophy here is to keep opposing teams out of the end zone and to take care of the football.
Yep.
That is what this team does. That is how they win year in and year out. That is how they make the playoffs. And they almost beat the Bills last season. You look at the Bills compared to the New England Patriots last season. It was almost unfair.
Yep.
This is a team now that they still have a running game, like you said, in Damian Harris. They still got a running game in James White. Now they have offensive weapons now in Kendrick Bourne,
Yeah,
Nelson
I like him too.
Aguilar, Jacoby Myers. They got tight ends now. I mean, they don't have Matt LaCosse anymore. They actually have an upgraded one in Janu Smith and Hunter Henry. This is a team that is capable of winning 10 games.
Yeah, no, like you said, Mac is not your run-of-the-mill quarterback. If he messes up, he doesn't put his head down. He just gets back out there and he does his thing. I think that's half the reason why the Patriots wanted this guy over Cam Newton. I've seen Mac play, obviously, in college and obviously in the preseason, and he just seems more comfortable. The team plays better when he's out there. Not saying that Cam wasn't. Cam had a really good preseason, I think, and it's unfortunate that he got cut. But nonetheless, I think that Mac Jones and this team should start off 2-0. I really do. But we'll get, I guess, to that later. But I do like the signing of just having him back there. I think obviously you go with the young guy. I think also, none of you guys really mentioned this, but I think the reason that Belichick is happy that he has this guy is because a lot of these football teams that they'll be playing don't really know how he plays. They only have his college tape. So they'll be able to maybe take advantage of some of these games early on in the season because these teams might not know how he really plays and stuff like that. But I think that the Patriots will be really happy to have a young guy back there. He knows what he's doing, and he's got, like you said, he's got people he can throw to this year. I think it'll be exciting first couple games for Patriots fans.
Belichick looks like a genius.
He does.
Because Alabama has a similar team that the Patriots. Keep
Right.
in this. They had a good wide receiving core. They had an O-line. Yeah, the defense was not great, but the Patriots have a good defense.
Number 7 in the NFL.
Exactly. This is a team, and Mac Jones, if he can play the way he somewhat played in Alabama, the Patriots are making the playoffs.
And I want to say this, I don't think we should take a whole lot of stock if he doesn't come out firing,
No, I won't.
Because if you just look at it, their first couple weeks, Dolphins have a really good defense. I think the Saints have been underrated over the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have.
And they're not great, but they're still it's a challenging defense. And then we saw what the Bucs did last year in the Super Bowl. So that's 3 out of the first 4. The others, the Jets, he'll probably light them up. But 3 out of the first 4, if he's not out there looking fantastic, I wouldn't take a lot of stock. And I still think we're going to look back after 17 games and say, man, this guy didn't turn the ball over. He was efficient, and he did exactly what Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels wanted him to do under center.